Hi Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your January 2022 Mercury Retrograde reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds, letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. So let's see what the tarot has to say. How will Sagittarius be affected by the January 2022 Mercury Retrograde? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. So at the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. We have the Lovers, which is Gemini energy. Now, Gemini is also our sister energy, so that's going to be quite powerful here. Gemini is also ruled by Mercury, so the Mercury retrograde is going to be more powerful for us, hit us at a very foundational level. So just be aware of that, Sagittarius. We then have the Emperor, which is Aries energy. So Aries is coming through at our root. If we have Gemini or Aries in our natal chart, they're coming through very powerfully as the root of our personality, the root of ourselves. We then have the Six of Cups and the Nine of Swords in our inner self. Very interesting. We have the Seven of Pentacles and we have Judgment in our hearts. We then have the Four of Pentacles, which I really like that depiction. That's very interesting. And the High Priestess in the public arena. So there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of release. The Four of Pentacles is usually my vampiric energy card. So the fact that we have this here and it's saying stability, saving, foundation, money, security, that's going to be a big thing. It's almost as if we're coming out of a part of our lives where we were very insecure. We were very overwhelmed. We didn't know. We had so much uncertainty around us, and we're stepping into something a lot more stable, a lot more understanding of ourselves and where it is that we want to be. So let's look at the energy we need to be mindful of during this time. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. And this is the King of Swords. This is air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Air sign energy and Mercury really do go hand in hand. They're all about communication. They're all about the voice. And this can be something that we have a bit of trouble with. We're going to find that things get tripped up, mucked up much more easily than we had thought they would, especially during this Mercury retrograde. We might have thought, oh, okay, it's going to be a breeze. It's not as easy as we think it's going to be. And this isn't to scare anybody. This is just a heads up. This is just if we are feeling frustrated, if we're feeling overwhelmed, it's like, oh, okay, I have to remember, Mercury is in retrograde. I have to remember that, things are going to be a little bit more complicated than I want them to be. And so here with the King of Swords, it can be that we fall on the logic of it all. We fall on the fact that we need things to move forward in this certain steady, structured way, and it's not going to. We're also going to find that there's going to be a way that people say things. It's going to be a way that people are communicating during this time that's very much like, I am right, I am in charge, I am, whatever. And it's not going to have the understanding or the caring that we need. And we're going to need to make sure that we incorporate that into ourselves, even if we're not getting it from outside sources, outside people, outside places. We're going to be very sensitive, Sagittarius, to the world around us. And it's going to be something that we need to just acknowledge within us, because once we acknowledge it, we become very powerful. It moves us to our chakra energy. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. And this is holistic health. It's absolutely one of my favorite chakra cards. Holistic health is the root chakra. So at the very root of us, it is our holistic well-being. It is taking care of ourselves. It is being nourished within our souls, within ourselves, as we move forward in our lives, as we embrace who we are, what we want. And it's looking at things, and instead of saying, okay, I need to acquire more, it's kind of like, okay, I need to step within me. Now, sometimes we do, we're stepping within ourselves, and it's just like, we could be sitting there and saying, I feel frumpy, I feel overwhelmed, I feel like I have nothing that lets me shine. And then if we do have the means to let ourselves shine, then we need to acknowledge that within us and embrace that, because we're embracing our holistic selves, the self that needs the healing, the self that needs the acknowledgement. And if that means that we need to, pamper ourselves a bit, that's okay. So often when we hear pampering, there we go, many of us, it's like, oh my gosh, no, I can spend that money on anybody else, but when it comes to me, I couldn't possibly. And now it's like, let yourself shine, let yourself be. And also look at your health, look at your body, look at your well-being, and say, okay, what do I need? What is my body needing? What do I need to take care of within myself? And sometimes it isn't, going to be the most organically, answered question. We can sit there and realize, I need to change my diet, but how? What is it that I need in my diet? What is it that I don't need in my diet? We do an experimental thing, like alleviate some things, dairy or wheat or, whatever. See what makes us feel better. See what, might have a candida like effect, die-off effect on us, and be able to get ourselves healthier, to be able to get ourselves feeling better within our own bodies, taking vitamins, drinking enough water, exercising, all these things. Also going barefoot. I am a huge advocate for barefoot shoes, not necessarily to run in because you have to drop your Achilles, but to be able to embrace your own health. That's going to be so important. And we can, if you guys want to hear more of me talking about our holistic health and our root self and everything, I'd be more than happy to do so. But let's get back on track with the Mercury retrograde, because the Mercury retrograde is going to be bringing up so much for us. And Mercury here, as it says, it's all about thinking and learning and network and communication. And that's going to be the things that we're looking at with all honesty for ourselves and for the way that we want to move forward. And we're feeling like, am I heading in the right direction? And that's why we need to stand in our own bodies. So often we're so good in standing in the rest of the world. We're so good at, connecting with others or, seeing what other people need, that we don't see what we ourselves need. And that's going to be a very powerful thing for us to say, I matter, especially during a Mercury retrograde, especially during a time when it's like, okay, but everybody else matters. So let's start talking about this Mercury retrograde. It's on the 14th of January, and we have the shadow period, which is from the 29th of December to the 14th of January. The pre-shadow period, it begins in Capricorn, and we will find that we need the answers to things. We need these answers. We're like craving to have this understanding of how we're moving forward, if we're doing the right thing. And we have, Saturn in Aquarius, and Saturn in Aquarius has this fighting energy. So Saturn rules Capricorn, so it feels very comfortable in the sign of Capricorn. But Aquarius, when Saturn is in Aquarius, we're looking at Uranus, and Uranus is all about freedom. It's all about expression. It's all about, upholding the sense of the liberation of the self. And Saturn is all about structure and rules, and this is what has to be done. So we're going to be kind of thinking, if I make a plan, if I make things, as clear or step by step by step, I'll be able to get to where it is I want to be. I'll be able to open up that door. I'll be able to have what I want. And we can restrain ourselves in such a way, Sagittarius, that we lose all spark, we lose all joy. And for us, that's going to be something that's really rather devastating. So be aware of that. Now, we do have Jupiter in Pisces, and we are ruled by Jupiter, Sagittarius. So that's going to be very helpful for us. It brings a friendly, caring, nurturing energy forward. Now we have Neptune also in Pisces, and Neptune rules Pisces. So our dreams become very strong. Neptune is also known as the Lord of the Invisible Kingdom. And the invisible kingdom is what the heart desires. It's self-expression. It's this deep sense of, what I want, but I can't build it, in the waking world all the time. So just be aware of that. Now, on the 14th of January to the 4th of February, we have Mercury in retrograde. Mercury is in Aquarius, and it's a very positive place for Mercury to be in. We need to be able to express ourselves through our words and our language and our ideas and our concepts, and whatever gets us thinking and moving outside of the box. And yes, we say words and language here as two separate entities, because the words of things are going to be one thing, the definition of it, but the language of it, the feeling behind it, it's almost like the music, the song of it is going to be quite another. So just be aware of that. Even though Mercury is comfortable in Aquarius, when Mercury is in retrograde, we find the breakdown of communication to be all the more overwhelming, because we have our sister energy of Gemini here at our root. We can find it actually even rather disturbing to have the breakdown of communication, to have things not moving as smoothly as we want them to be. Now, Jupiter and Neptune both remain in Pisces energy, and so we have that friendly, beautiful energy of Jupiter, which really does help to balance us and really does affect us in a very positive way. Neptune has us looking at our dreams and what it is that we desire. Now, we have Venus in Capricorn, and this isn't the best alignment because this makes it harder for us to express our freedom, our feelings, which is really not what we want during a Mercury retrograde. We already have a hard time expressing our words. Now we're going to have a hard time expressing our feelings, and this is going to make us feel rather secretive, rather withdrawn, which can lead us to feeling anxious and sad and just being overwhelmed. So do be mindful of that. Now, Mercury is going to be trine the moon. We will have good memories and a peaceful soul and good communication skills because this alignment is very positive. But because we're in Mercury retrograde, we feel like we're almost getting there and then everything can fall apart, or like we don't quite make it to the place that we hoped it would be, the place that we want it to be. So just be aware of that during this time. It can really have us doubting ourselves. Then we have Mercury conjunct Saturn, and we will find ourselves distrusting our own abilities and our own imagination because we're really going to be relying on the sense of, I just need it to be structured, I just need the rules. We are going to let the rules get in the way of what we really desire. And it's not even like somebody else's rules or the rules that we have to follow for XYZ. It's going to be the rules that we ourselves make up. It's kind of like, you have to do this to be able to do that. You have to finish this to be able to do that. And it's going to make it very hard for us to approach what we deeply want. Now, Mercury is going to be squared Uranus. Now, this makes everyone astoundingly opinionated. And it can be a very frustrating time because everybody's seeking their own freedom and wanting to communicate that. Everybody is talking, nobody is listening. So this can make us very frustrated because it's going to be that energy of I'm right and you're wrong, and the person's just going to get louder and louder and louder, and it's going to put everybody on attack mode. So just be aware of it. It doesn't have to be to an extreme. So we can think, oh my gosh, it's just going to be fighting all the time. It could be brought to the extreme for some people, but not for others. For others, it's going to be like, okay, you know what? I have to step out of my own ego. Ego can get very big during a Mercury retrograde, and I need to step into what is helpful, what is healing, what is soulful for where I am and what I want within my life. This makes us, with Mercury squared Uranus, this makes us tremendously introverted, and we don't want to discuss the problem. We just kind of want to shrink away and wait till it all just kind of blows over. So just be aware of that. The 4th of February, on the 4th of February to the 24th of February, we have the post-shadow period. Now, the moon is sextile Mercury. This brings peace and intelligence. It also makes us step out of our ego. It wants us to step out of our ego and into what it is that we truly, truly want. So that's going to be very important for us. If we can do that, if we can step out of the ego, or even if we can see the ego kind of taking over, we can see our anger taking over, or our frustration, or however we word it, and be like, no, I need to pull myself back. That's going to be very beneficial. Mercury is going to be sextile Neptune. We have amazing imaginations, yet we're going to find it hard to really bring these ideas to life because we're going to be so worried about it having to be perfect. And you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes the human touch, the fingers, the fingerprints being all over it, that's a really good thing. Mercury is going to be conjunct Pluto. This alignment makes chaotic thinking because the subconscious and conscious thinking process are intertwined. And we're going to think, oh, well, I just need to explain it to the person. They'll be able to understand. And it's like, no, everybody's going to be just a little bit jumbled during this time. Not the best explanations are going to be coming up. We have the MC squared Mercury, and this makes us intelligent, business savvy, likable, and we're going to be also, well, we have to be mindful of being relentless in our pursuit of our pursuits, and we're going to be easily distracted and a little bit scattered, so just be aware of that. Mercury is also going to be trying the North Lunar Node. Now we're going to be very curious about our own emotions and ourselves, and we're going to be curious about other people's emotions and selves. We're going to want to really dive deep into things. That may not be as helpful as we think it is, because we can think, oh, I can just heal everything, but it can really start to dredge things up, and that can be something that's a little bit more intense, a little bit more overwhelming than we're ready to handle at this time. It doesn't mean we ignore things, but it means that, don't go so deep that you find yourself just like falling down the rabbit hole. That's just the warning here. So do be aware of that. The Lovers comes in, and we just want to love during this period. We want the passion back. We want the beauty back within our lives. We want to celebrate and connect. And if we already have the passion and the beauty, we really want to just celebrate it and be a part of it and just absolutely embrace our hearts and what we love and just the beauty of things. Now with Mercury and the Lovers, and the Gemini energy coming forward, there's a duality to us. There's a sense of looking at things from many different angles, from many different directions during this time. Can it get overwhelming? Yes, it can. Is it going to bring beautiful resolutions and beautiful insights to us? Yes, it really, really is. There's a need for our subconscious and our conscious to come together, our sacred feminine and our sacred masculine energy to come together. And there's a bit of a healing here. There's a bit of power here that needs to be acknowledged. It moves us to the Emperor, which brings us to that power that Spirit was showing with the Lovers. And the Emperor is saying, this is my power. This is my intensity. This is what I want from my life. This is the throne that I am sitting on. And this is the grace and the beauty and the brilliance that is me. And so as we embrace the Emperor, as we embrace our passion and our power and our insights, we are going to find that there's a fire to us, that there's a determination to us, that we might have been like poo-pooing, we might have not really been realizing. This is also a time that we need to connect. We need to connect with that sacred masculine energy, with that kind of more forceful, determined energy to say, this is where I stand, this is what I want, and this is who I am. Not in the way that the ego takes over, but in the way that we know we rule our kingdom. We know that we're heading in the direction that we want. We're taking the reins. And this is going to be powerful because we can feel at times like a passive observer, especially during Mercury retrograde, especially when, we start off the pre-shadow period, we're wanting to, create such structure that nothing can go wrong. And then the structure is created, or the ideas are created, and then things take on a life of their own anyway. And so we can feel rather defeated. But what the Emperor says is that it's not about creating the boundaries and saying, okay, these are the rules, you can't ever step out of them. People are going to always step out of the rules. But what it is saying here is that this is the power of who I am. This is the presence of me. And as I look at the boundaries, as I look at what I want for my world, as I form and I create, I know that I will err, that things will go wrong, but that there is still determination and beauty in me to move forward and to keep in that direction of upwards, to keep in that direction of never losing faith within myself. And it brings us to the Six of Cups inwardly. We're going to be looking back at a lot of things. It could be the last year that we've been through. It could be, we're looking at the past and we're thinking, oh, things were better when, or we're having ideas or words from the past come up. It can also be that we get to a certain point in our lives, and when things get frustrating, we hear the negative thoughts much more clearly. And the negative thoughts are always really easily remembered. We can remember the time we got into that huge fight with our parents. We can remember the time when the person didn't believe in us, or, stopped loving us, or whatever it was that happened. And those words that come out of those moments last with us so long. They can last with us forever. And what the Six of Cups is saying is that not only are we remembering, not only are we looking at the past, and the past brings pain because we can never replicate it, but we're looking at the harmfulness of the past as well. And that's going to set us off course in a very real, in a very powerful, and in a very harmful way if we let it. Because the hurtful, hateful words are going to come up, and then we're going to think, well, the person said it for a reason. Like, there's something I need to see there. And yes, sometimes there are things that we need to see, but the pain of it does not need to be carried forward. For one little kernel of truth or one little kernel of insight, we don't need to keep on beating ourselves up and surrounding ourselves with so much negativity. So be mindful of this. The Nine of Swords is, not resting enough, not taking care of ourselves, not moving ourselves forward the way that we need to, it's being worried, it's being doubtful, it's being overwhelmed. And it's, just sitting there late at night thinking, I can't possibly move forward the way that I need to. I can't possibly embrace what I need to embrace. It's overthinking, it's overanalyzing, it's thinking if I could just make everything right, if I could just make everything beautiful, if I could just make everything perfect, then I'd be able to XYZ. Then I'd be able to embrace what I really need to embrace. And what Spirit is saying here is that inwardly, when we look inwardly at ourselves, don't put that weight, don't put that burden on your shoulders. It doesn't have to be perfect. And it doesn't have to, expel the past or, release ourselves from the past. What it has to do is say, I'm not letting you weigh me down anymore. And I'm not fighting for perfect. I'm fighting for me. I'm fighting for, connection. I'm fighting for understanding. And I'm being patient within my heart, within my soul, for what I want and how I'm moving forward and where it is that I need to be, soul and spirit. And the Seven of Pentacles is like, in divine timing, it will come. And I know nobody wants to hear that because we always want it in our timing. But during this Mercury retrograde, we're going to feel things quite intensely. We might need to talk to somebody like a friend or, a family member or even, a professional or a spiritual advisor, whomever it is, to be able to say, I need to come to you with my heart. I need to come to you with everything that I'm feeling, and I need to try and work it out. Now, it can be through journaling. It can be through self-expression. It can be through exercise, doing something physical. We need to acknowledge it. And then we need to have the patience with ourselves to be able to move forward, to be able to know that, the seeds have been planted, the bounty is coming, and I need to not be so hard on myself, because that leads our heart to awakening in a very powerful way, in a very honest way. We're hearing the call of our angels, we're hearing the call of our spirit guides, and we're rising. We're rising to so much more than we had realized. We're rising in so much more power, so much more understanding, so much more truth than we thought we were ever going to be in. And we're going to find that a part of ourselves has been slumbering for quite some time. A part of ourselves wasn't as connected with the world around us, or wasn't as connected with ourselves as we needed to be, as we wanted to be. And it leads us to the public arena in the Four of Pentacles. Now here, again, this is security and stability and saving and, foundation and money. This is having a good foundation. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, is the person holding on, blocking all their chakras. Here, that blockage is not there. I mean, we do have the solar plexus chakra coming up, but it's not like it's being blocked. It's not like we're huddling in on ourselves. It's a real sense of, I'm opening myself up to the power, to the wisdom, to the beauty that is coming. And we're going to feel that shift, that vampiric energy, that draining energy being released into the world, the poison being released into the world, and saying, what, it needs to be cleansed. And we're starting to see ourselves stand up stronger, stand up more powerful within ourselves. And it leads us to the High Priestess, which says here, secrets and dreams and wisdom and inner voice and spirit and the world start coming forward. We are starting to see so much more than we have seen before. The veil is lifted from our eyes. Whenever the High Priestess comes, we have another layer pulled back. We have another layer to bring us clear sight, to bring us deeper understanding, to help us to move forward to the place that we really want to be. There is this beautiful idea of connection and heart and soul. There is this beautiful coming together of what it is that we truly want and where it is that we truly need to be for ourselves. And the high priestess in the public arena, now this can make us astoundingly sensitive to the world around us. And Sagittarius, we are normally very sensitive to the world around us. So just be mindful of this. And as we are connecting, as we are gaining a greater understanding, as we're seeing people for who they truly are, and as we're seeing ourselves for who we truly are, we're kind of starting to give ourselves credit. We're starting to say, but I need this, but I don't want that, but I don't need that. I need to move forward this way, and I don't need to move forward that way. And this is who I am. And yes, maybe this is who I wanted to be once upon a time, but this is where I stand. And this is what I desire for my life. And we're opening up that door, and it becomes such a change, such a power, such a personal place of growth that we're going to be rather surprised. And it leads us to our subconscious energy to be mindful of. And that's the Queen of Wands. We need to be mindful of not getting in our own way. We need to be mindful of the fire and the passion kind of overruling everything else and wanting to make its own course. It brings us to our subconscious chakra energy, and that's the heart chakra. It's letting love shine, and it's letting us be in love with our lives and ourselves, and it's letting us connect with the heart and not just simply with reason. It's going to be a bit of a balancing act during this Mercury retrograde to take the reason of it, to take the logic of it, and then to balance it with our heart and our soul and what we deeply love and what we deeply desire. It moves us to our subconscious rooted energy. And this is the high priestess. That's, again, the veil being lifted from our eyes, the ideas, the understanding coming forward. There is a strong sense of being connected with the moon, the many phases of our lives and ourselves, and the many faces that we put forward to the world. And this is also going to be a time where we're looking at deeper knowledge, deeper wisdom. We can be very drawn to the spiritual, the esoteric, and very empowered by it. It moves us to our subconscious inner self. And that is the Five of Swords. Inwardly, for one reason or another during this time, we have a bit of battles going on. We have the past trying to pull us back. We have doubts and fears and, not taking care of ourselves, draining our energy in the present, or just that drain of energy in the present, the overthinking, overanalyzing. And then we have the Five of Swords, which is, that sense of I can't, right? That sense of battles, of hurt, of pain, but of also, I'm being tried one more time. Like, I'm facing something I don't want to face. And as I face what I do not want to face, I have to see me openly and honestly. And maybe we're seeing ourselves in a role that we don't want to play, or in a way forward that makes us uncomfortable. But what we're also going to see is us really starting to believe in us again. And it's that one last kind of like kick in the tush before we say, you know what, this is me. This is what I want. This is what I need. This is what I desire. And I'm not being held back anymore. I'm not being denied anymore. I am empowered. But there is that one last battle that comes forward. And the person is really going to expect us to shrink away, or, there's going to be this energy of like, I'm going to win. I'm going to conquer. And we're going to come in so much stronger than anybody would ever imagine. And it's going to be like, oh no, but this is who I am. But this is the power of me. It moves us to our subconscious emotional self, and it's the Five of Pentacles. It's the poverty mentality. It's the repeat of the number 5. We're looking towards that freedom, and we're going to see in our hearts, where's that poverty coming from? Where's the hurt, the pain, the lack, the I can'ts coming from? And we're going to start to see it, and we're going to start to say, why? And I'm awakening from that poverty. I'm awakening from that doubt, from that fear, and I'm really starting to see the prosperity of me. I'm really starting to embrace the patience. And as subconsciously we look at, but you can't, but, we're not worthy of love, or, I've loved and been hurt before, or whatever it is that comes forward in our minds when we think of the poverty around our heart. It's not ever going to be stable. I always have the rug pulled from underneath me. We need to look at that talk that we have and say, why? Why is it that gets to be my story? Why is it that gets to be what I tell myself? I'm worth so much more. And I can go into the world of prosperity. I can. Because I'm worth it. And it moves us to our subconscious public arena self. And that is the Page of Cups. And here it says fun and magic and love. And and just repeats that like a mantra. Fun and magic and love. We're starting to fall in love with ourselves again, fall in love with our world. We are the children of our hearts, of what we desire. We're looking and connecting with that inner child within our heart, within ourselves, in the public arena. It's like, don't forget you, Sagittarius. Embrace your heart, embrace what makes you laugh. It doesn't matter if you think, oh my gosh, I'm being so silly. Let yourself bring back in the joy and let it seep into every corner of your being. We're also going to find inspiration from the most unlikely of places, and it's just going to let our hearts shine. All right. All right, Sagittarius. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the intensity of this Mercury retrograde. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Sagittarius, and may you have a blessed Mercury retrograde.